No civilization in history has outlasted time. Our towns are being replaced with people that don't share the same values and beliefs as us. The good times eventually come to an end when the freedom isn't free anymore. Not a smart chicken. So here in the state of Georgia, you can only shoot does select days, basically. So you only got about 5 days per season, give or take. Participate in archery, you can take does any day of the hunting season. So this little puppy fires these tiny little bolts here. These little bolts at nearly 400 feet per second. Don't quote me on the speed, but it's fast. Wish me luck. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. I was just having some fun. Buddies and I were talking about the Battle of Kings Mountain and the Over the Mountain Men this morning. And that story is really intriguing to me for a couple of reasons. Reason one is there was a muster ground in my hometown of Abingdon, Virginia. And I may or may not be related to a lot of the men. I don't know my family history well enough to, and haven't been able to trace it back to know if any of my kin were there or not. But there's a really good chance, because that's right in my neck of the woods. And then the other reason why it was so interesting to me is because it was a pivotal moment in the American Revolution. It was a turning point in the American Revolution. Cornwallis proclaimed that he was going to kill the leaders and he was going to burn everything to the ground, basically, if these group of patriots didn't bow to the king and submit and pledge their loyalty to the king. And when he threatened them and their families, that was a bad mistake. They went from being reluctant and participating in these battles and in this fight. They were reluctant to do that in the beginning, to my knowledge, to being pissed, being furious, and they brought it to the loyalist militia. They brought it and they killed over 1,000 of them. Less than 100 of the Over the Mountain Men died, and well over 1,000 of the loyalists were killed in this Battle of Kings Mountain. I'd like to put myself in the shoes of these individuals, and I wonder how I'd react and how I'd respond and where my mind would be if I was in this situation. And if you bring it to modern times, I'm really curious about it. That really brings it close to home. Like if the man was to come down upon us, would we have the gumption? Would we have the strength? Would we have the skills? Would we even be capable of doing something like that? Would we be capable of putting up a fight like that against a much stronger force? The British military was the strongest in the world. There was no question about it. Better trained, better equipped, name it. It was better. But they still got whipped because of the motivation behind the Over the Mountain Men. They were furious, and they were protecting their homeland and their families. They rose to the occasion and they fought back, and they fought back hard. And I wonder if we as a society would be capable of doing something such as that. I think back then, every boy grew up with a rifle in his hand, and if it wasn't a rifle, it was a fishing rod. You know, they could hunt, they could fish, they could run, they were fitter, more active, more skilled. They grew up faster. If I'm not mistaken, correct me, you history buffs out there, I want to say there were 13, 14 really, really young boys fighting in this Battle of Kings Mountain. And because they were a different breed, they were raised up different. Their dads, their granddads taught them the skills required, necessary to defend themselves. And maybe it started out with, hunting and foraging and living off the land and farming and all that stuff, but those skills were applicable to defending themselves. And I look at the kids these days. My kids still go to public schools. I'm on the fence about homeschooling them. I really want to. It's a big plunge. I got a lot going on in my life right now, which no excuses, but it just makes it difficult, all the things that are going on right now, to make such a big transition into homeschooling. You can weigh in on the comments on how you feel about that, and are all the public schools lost? But anyway, back on topic, I look around at some of the kids that my kids go to school with, and I'm like, and my kids aren't special. I think they're a little bit more well equipped than the general population, and it's because I've taken the time and I've put the energy into teaching them these skills that I think are important. But you look around at the general population and you got fat kids everywhere. I mean, sorry to put it so bluntly, but you got fat kids everywhere that spend 99% of the time playing video games, and then the other 1% of the time thinking about playing video games. They're slow and they're unhealthy and they don't know how to shoot. They don't know how to fish. If you asked them to run to the top of the mountain right here, half of the kids would probably throw up or just quit and cry because it was hard. I think that we're a much, much different society now than we were back in the 1700s. These are things that are on my mind, and I figured we would discuss these things together and think about what are our options for the short term, maybe, and then what are our medium term, what are our long-term options. Long-term, obviously, is just raise up the next generation of kids to be tough, to be strong, to be willing and able to defend themselves, their families, their homes. Because it's inevitable that something is going to happen. No society in history, no civilization in history has outlasted time. Eventually something happens. Eventually there's some sort of transition that happens. An invading force arrives, like what we're seeing now with wide open borders. And if you want to call that an invading force, or you just want to call that immigration, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. The thing that's changing is what our values, our core beliefs, the things that we hold near and dear to us are dwindling with our generation. And we're being replaced. Towns are being replaced with people that don't share the same values and beliefs as us. And I don't know what the solution is to that. Listen, my heart goes out to people that are leaving a crappy place in the effort to find a new beginning, to find better opportunities. Man, that's awesome. Like, more power to you. You should do that. Like, if I was in your situation, if I lived in a crap hole third world country somewhere, and I was depending on getting to America to make my family's life better and my kids' lives better, I would absolutely 100% do that. Man, I can respect the effort and the bravery and the courage that goes into uprooting your family and moving to someplace new where maybe you don't know anybody, maybe you only know a few people, but you're starting fresh. So heart goes out to those people. But there's also an influx of people that are not necessarily here to do the good things, to not start fresh with their families. They are here for the wrong reasons, and they're bringing all the third world crap here, and they don't share our same values and beliefs. I think that we're slowly being invaded by this foreign force, and the good times will inevitably, if you look at any time in history, any culture, any society, any civilization in history, the good times eventually come to an end, and there's a big change, a reset of some sort. And do we want that to happen? Of course not. We want our good times to continue on. We want to be able to order Uber Eats, and we want to go to the movies, and we want to go to the football game, and enjoy our lives and live our lives in freedom. Eventually, there's going to come a time when the freedom isn't free anymore. We take it for granted, me included. I'm not different than you. I'm not different than anybody watching or any of the schlubs out there that are currently taking our freedom for granted. I know what the long-term solution is. The long-term solution is raise up our next generation to be tough, to be able to fend for themselves, produce their own food, to be able to run and gun, to be able to do all the things, to be healthier and stronger than we are right now. That's the long-term solution to the problem that we've got going on right now. The long-term solution is to create strong communities of people that you can rely on, people that you can trust, that share your same values and beliefs. What's the short-term solution? I don't know. That one's even more questionable to me because we just don't have the time. Like what? Nobody has the crystal ball. No one's looking at the crystal ball saying, oh yeah, on, December 24th, right before Christmas this year, the things are going to happen. There's a lot of predictions out there, and a lot of those predictions are going to be wrong. There's going to be a few that are right. There always is. And they'll be able to say, I told you so. There's a lot of doomsday preppers out there that are going to say, I've been saying it for years and it finally happened and now you guys are finally listening. Sure, yes. What I feel is that we don't have as much time as we would like. I don't know what the future holds for us. Is there going to be some great big huge attack? Or there's going to be attacks. It's going to happen. There's going to be more 9/11s and things of that nature, and it's terrible and it's really sad, and all we can do is be prepared as possible for those types of events. Get training, get weapons training, get first aid, medical training, learn how to be sustainable on your property as much as possible. Grow what you can grow to eat. Stockpile the foods that you need. Have a well-maintained home that's warm and cozy and well ventilated and the roof doesn't leak. Have a solid water supply, something that's not grid dependent. Don't be 100% reliant upon the grid's electricity because that could come and go at any given time. I mean, just on the weather. That doesn't even have to be some sort of attack. So being as independent as possible, I think, is a big deal. But don't try to be an island all by yourself. Don't try to lock away you and your loved ones in a cave somewhere and hope that that's just you're gonna ride it out. You need people around you that are gonna help you when times get really tough. Short-term solutions: be ready, be prepared, be strong, be fit, exercise, eat healthy, take care of that. Go to the dentist and fix the tooth that's been bothering you for a while. Every day when you wake up in the morning, you need to have a plan to do the things all day. Do as much as you can do the right things, make the right choices. Sometimes I get it, sometimes there's gray area. Sometimes there's right, and then sometimes there's wrong, and then sometimes there's some gray area in the middle, and we often get caught up in that and get confused about what to do. Just do something if you're in there. If you're caught in the middle somewhere, go with your gut. Go with your gut, make the choice, and do the things. And if you do that all day long, at the end of the day, you will rest well because you will know that you've done the right things all day long, and you'll feel really good. And you will have accomplished a lot. And if you compound that by weeks and months and years, you will have accomplished a lot. And I'm not saying that I do that. I fail all the time. So I have I've been a little bit down in the dumps lately, a little bit bummed out. My wife's injured. She's got a reconstructed ACL recently, and she's having a really tough time. So I've been kind of stuck at home. And that's not really my style. I get frustrated and irritable and I feel like I'm not very productive oftentimes because I'm not out doing the things, running around, like a chicken with my head cut off like I usually do. I still, every day I kind of kick myself in the butt and say, you know what, do the things, do the right things, do everything that you can do in the situation that you're in. We can all make excuses for all the things that we can't do. It's easy to make excuses. It's difficult to do the things. I guess I've probably jabbered on enough about this. This is just stuff that's the top of mind and what I'm feeling passionate about right now. And I'm inspired by the history of the Over the Mountain Men. I'm inspired by the sacrifices that they made going forward to our future. I'm inspired by that because we can overcome a much more overwhelming force if we want it bad enough. If we do the things, if we are consistent in doing the things and we want it bad enough, we can make miracles happen. Don't live your lives in fear. Be ready, be prepared. Love the ones you're with. See you on the next one. I'm Jason Salyer with Survival Dispatch. As a Survival Dispatch insider, you'll be able to gain the knowledge, the skills, and equipment necessary to protect your family when it really, really matters. They'll provide crucial information on such things as stockpiling food, medical necessities, communication plans. You will receive specific, actionable plans. You can deliver proven techniques to help you get home, shelter in place, or bug out safe.